Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So today we are taking a little break from the world burning down around us and all the crazy geopolitical conflict in the Middle East that we've been following on the channel for the last, I would say even month and a half. And talk about something that actually is relevant to all of that, potential war in the Middle East, the recruitment crisis going on in the military, all those sorts of things. And that is definitely the question I get asked the most about in the comment section and personal messages. And that is right now a good time to join the U.S. military? Is a career in the military still something positive to do? Okay, now, the purpose of this video is really to give you guys a holistic view of all the actual negatives and all the actual positives that go into serving in the military, whether it be for a few years, a career, and really, there's a lot of both, okay? And depending on who you are as a person, what you want out of life, you really need to understand all of these before you make that decision, okay? So, and this could be for those of you who are considering joining the military, or all of the parents out there who got kids that are about to be military age, that are worried about their kids. All right, I'm going to dispel a lot of rumors and also confirm a lot of things too. All right, both good and bad. All right, so the way we're going to do it is we're going to go over the negatives first. Okay, and some of these negatives, it's kind of nuanced, but I'm going to explain how they're probably not actually negatives. It's just kind of like a societal misconception that's sort of been developed, but I'll also confirm the ones that really do suck, because there is still a lot that sucks about being in the military, and career in the military, okay? Just like any job, right? That's the reality of it. Now, and then I'll go over the positive after that, and then at the end, I'll just give you guys my personal opinion, should you consider joining in 2025. So, let's jump on in, starting with the negatives first. Right, first, and there's actually going to be some of these that are negatives and positives depending on where you're at in your career. And this first one is going to be one of those, and that is the pay. Okay, so we are going to start out with this as a negative, all right, based off of your initial joining the U.S. military. All right, you're most likely going to be an E1 to an E4 if you list private, or even as an officer, a second lieutenant. All right, the pay is not good. All right. Strictly from income dollars into your account, working full-time at McDonald's, you're going to make more money than you will as a private in the U.S. military. That is a fact, okay? And, yeah, I think that an E1 right now is something around, and I didn't look this up beforehand, probably around $2,000 a month. And, yes, it's a full-time job, way more than full-time, as those of you who've been in the military know. It's 9 to 5 at best, like 6 to 5 at worst, Monday through Friday, not counting deployments, okay? It's a lot of work. So initially you think, well, that's not worth it, right? Getting paid that little for that much work. Well, that's also not looking at the big picture, okay? When you are an 18-year-old kid and you're a private in the military, yes, it's not a lot of money. However, everything is provided for you. Your housing is provided for you, be it a barracks, if you're married, BAH for a house, okay? Your food is provided for you, be it through BAS, a food stipend, or access to the chow hall, okay? Medical is provided for you. Dental is provided for you. You honestly have no expenses really out of your own pocket other than what you want to personally spend your money on. So when you look at it that way, $2,000 a month when you have zero expensive, honestly not that bad for an 18-year-old kid, okay? You're not paying for an apartment. You're not paying for, medical bills or food or any of that type of stuff. Okay, it's all provided for you. So, yes, kind of sucks you're not making that much money, but it doesn't last forever. And you don't got a whole lot of bills either. Okay, so the next one, and man, this comment is constant from the parents. I'm not going to let my kid go die in a foreign conflict for corrupt bankers and yada, yada, yada. I get it, okay? This is like the most common misconception about being in the military, and that is everyone goes to combat and everybody goes to war, okay? Understand this for all of you parents out there and all you kids out there. 95%, if not more than that, of all people who've ever served in the military have never seen combat. Okay? It is a very small subset of service members and veterans and active duty soldiers who will ever see combat. One, you got to be in a combat arms unit most likely, and even then, there's tons of Green Berets out there who've never been to war, never been to combat. Okay, so that's not a guarantee. Now, if you want to join the infantry and you want to join combat arms, you should expect, yes, you potentially will be the ones to go see combat, right? But if you don't join a combat arms MOS, okay? There's 1,000 different jobs in the military that you can join. You can be an intel analyst, you can be a cook, you can be a fueler, you can be an engineer, you can be working in the medical field, right? So relax with that. That is like, if that's your reasoning, it's kind of a silly one because, again, yes, it's possible to die when you're in the military, but it's just as it's probably more likely to die in a car accident than it is from dying in war, okay? Unless we go to World War III and everybody dies, right? But just in general, that's kind of one you need to relax with, in my opinion, okay? The next one ties into that. I'm not letting my kids serve some corrupt government. Okay, guys, sure, I get it. I don't disagree. The military is sort of separated from that, right? The military is its own organization. Yes, we are the tactical arm of carrying out strategic, potentially corrupt decisions from the politicians, okay? But every government in the entire world is corrupt. Every single one. 100% of them. And ours, probably not as bad as a lot of them. And, so not only that, vast majority of corporations are corrupt. Vast majority of people at the top are corrupt, okay? So it's a human condition. So, again, you don't join the military to serve the elites, okay? You join the military to gain skills, right? Have a purpose, patriotism, all these different things you can join the military for. I never once thought about, I'm carrying out goals for the evil bankers. Okay, whatever, right? If that's your thing, cool. But again, I think it's just kind of a silly thing, right? But it is reality that, you watch my videos, I'm highly critical. You potentially are the tactical arm for the military-industrial complex. It is what it is, okay? Next one, and that is toxic leadership in a toxic work environment. This is definitely true sometimes, okay? This is, experiences may vary. And if you do an entire career in the military, you 100% will come across toxic leaders, toxic work environments, toxic coworkers. Again, I think this is more just part of the human condition, okay? You're going to have bad leaders, and this is not just specific to the military. This is everywhere in life. I'm sure all these you guys who work civilian jobs know you've had terrible bosses. It is what it is. It's a part of it. You're also going to have some of for me, at least personally, I had one of the most amazing leaders and bosses that I possibly could have ever had, that mentored me, guided me, and developed my leadership abilities, right? So, it's one of those things of you're not going to escape that no matter what you do. So, but yes, it is there in the military. It can be incredibly toxic, competitive, a lot of arrogance, right? Kind of part of the culture, okay? So that is one that exists, right? Another one people are worried about, damage to the mind and body. If you've seen my videos before, yes, I've got or had pretty severe PTSD, a lot of behavioral health. Goes in the realm of a lot of combat time, is what it is. Right, my body, pretty destroyed. Bunch of knee surgeries, multiple back surgeries, both shoulders completely reconstructed. Yeah, but I also was in Army Special Forces for over a decade, okay? So, depending on the career you choose, right, if you are an intel analyst for 20 years, you're probably not going to have any physical issues at the end of your career other than normal wear and tear of doing PT, right? But if you decide to be a Green Beret, yes, your body is going to be absolutely shattered and destroyed by the end of your career. But you had a lot of fun doing it, right? So this one is very, very MOS and decision dependent, okay? If you want to get into special operations and work some tactical job, understand you're going to give your body up for it. It's part of the game, just like NFL athletes or whatever, okay? So next one, and this I think is a big one for people to consider, especially those who are a little bit older, thinking about joining the military, and that is difficulty on your family, on your relationships, on your marriage, on your children. This one is 100% true. 100% something you're going to deal with. 100% a negative that you're going to combat your whole career. Okay, especially in something like Special Forces, we deploy all the time. If you don't have an extremely strong relationship with your spouse, you're going to get divorced. Okay, it's very, very difficult to maintain the family when you're constantly gone. You're in a stressful work environment. Okay, so that's not to say it's not doable, because I mean, on my last ODA, of the 12 guys, we had like 28 kids. I think like 11 out of 12 guys were married. It's definitely doable, but it's challenging. Okay, it's a lot more challenging than a civilian job by far when it comes to difficulty on your family. There was a span of, I think at one point, like 8 Valentine's days in a row I was gone. Right, I wasn't home for my daughter's birthday from about 3 years old to 9 years old. Okay, my anniversary, I think first time I was around for an anniversary was once I was actually retired. So yes, those things are very difficult, something you need to consider. Okay, if you are somebody thinking about joining the military in your mid-20s, wife and kids, and you don't think your family would be able to handle that, I would highly suggest you maybe think twice about it. Okay, next one. Doing things you don't want to do. That is life in the military. That is all you're going to do, okay? Is just constantly do shit you don't want to do, all right? And you don't have any choice in the matter, okay? Maybe I don't want to go run tomorrow morning, but guess what? The unit's having a 5-mile run, so guess what I'm doing? I'm running in the morning, right? Maybe I want to go on vacation because there's some show I wanted to see. Guess what? It's not block leave. You're not going, okay? So that is life in the military. You give up a lot of freedoms, okay? And that is just part of it, right? The good thing, and I'll talk about this sort of in the positives, about constantly doing stuff you don't want to do, like waking up to go work out because you have to, you are developing a lot of mental discipline. And in a lot of ways, doing stuff like that you don't want to do is actually still good for you, right? Like getting up in the morning and go work out even though you didn't want to. It's actually probably good for you, right? But again, it's one of those things that's just a pain in the ass to deal with. All right, and the last one, and this one's more of a, not one of the big ones, but something to consider, right? If you are an individual and expressive personality, that is going to be like clothing and grooming standards, right? You wear a uniform every day, right? We all wear the same uniform. This beard, not allowed to have it, right? Shaving standards, you got to have your hair a certain way, right? You can't have your hair dyed different colors and all this different shit, okay? So if you're someone that values your individualism in that regard, the military ain't going to be for you because everybody has to look the same. Okay, so again, that's a lot of negatives. That's over like 10, almost 10 big negatives, right, that you have to weigh. These are realities of life in the military. Okay, now let's talk about the positives, because there are a bunch of positives, and no doubt about that, right? So even though we started with pay as a negative, we're going to do pay as a positive, all right? And this is more when we get into the senior enlisted higher ranking officer. I did an entire video on the pay of a Special Forces E7 soldier, okay? You can watch that if you're interested, but calculate it out with pay, benefits, bonuses, all that, to probably around like $140,000 a year, okay? I hit E7 in 7 years of being in the military. That's not that bad for a career, right? Now, can you make more money in the civilian world? Possibly. It is what it is. But, like I mentioned, you have a lot of things provided for you. You start to be a higher rank, you're going to get BAH, right? They're going to literally just pay your mortgage off for you if you own a home, right? You're still going to get that food stipend, right? Your wife, your family, your kids get free medical, free dental. There is a ton that goes into the pay, right, that you're going to have to pay out of pocket for in the civilian world, okay? So, yes, the pay, as you get a little bit higher up in rank, is incredibly competitive with the civilian world in that way, okay? Just talking for myself, right? I joined the military with, I think, $700 in my bank account, right? And no wealth, right? My truck was like what did I have? The 1998 Toyota Tacoma or something like that. Yeah, like I had basically nothing. Dropped out of college, right? Because I just found out it wasn't for me. Joined the military and made my way that way, all right? And now I'm retired with a pension, own multiple homes, and probably in the top 10% of wealth in America for my age bracket, okay? And again, that's strictly from a military career. I had no other side gigs, no investment businesses or anything like that. I was able to accomplish all of that strictly from what I made in the military. Okay, so it is an easy button to success when you look at it that way, from a monetary standpoint. Okay, next one, and I think this is the most important positive by far, probably saved my life. It's why I kind of like the idea of conscription for 18-year-olds, like in a little bit of ways, and that is developing discipline. I cannot tell you how important discipline is to success. The military will instill discipline into you begrudgingly, whether you like it or not. You will come out of the military routined and disciplined, okay? Everything from basic training to your entire career is forced upon you. You have no choice of not showing up to work. Oh, I don't feel good today. Too fucking bad. You're coming, right? You're going to get so conditioned to discipline that even if 3 years later you get out, you do a career, you get out, everything in life is so easy compared to before you were in the military. Like, I'm doing my master's degree now, 10 times easier doing a master's degree after a military career than doing college before a military career, okay? Because you're just so disciplined. I highly, for no other reason than that, for your life success, developing that discipline will take you further than anything else. Like a 4-year college degree at Harvard is nowhere near the value of the discipline that you will receive just in a few years in the military, in my personal opinion. Okay, so discipline, it is, once you have it, but it is so hard to develop on your own. I know very few people in the civilian world, and I'm talking a tiny percent of people in the civilian world who are actually truly disciplined. Okay, so next is the benefits. The benefits are amazing. They truly are, the military. And that's not just benefits while you're in, benefits while you're out. Okay, so while you're in, things like tuition assistance. Okay, I, again, dropped out of college, but guess what I did? I used tuition assistance, and the Army just paid for me to get my bachelor's degree while I was active duty. I spent $0 on it, got a bachelor's degree. Pretty good deal. Free, again, we talked about medical, right? While you're in, free medical, free dental for your kids. When you get out, even if you only do a couple of years, you have access to the VA. And while people think the VA is terrible, it's not that good at some things, but it's still free medical. And as you'll find out, medical is expensive in the world, right? So the next, this is the big one for you young kids, man, 18-year-old kids. The GI Bill. The GI Bill is amazing. They are going to not only pay for your college, even if you do 3 years in the military and get out, pay for your college, they're going to give you a living stipend. Like here in Oregon, it's $2,000 a month just to go to school. Plus they pay for all your school, okay? So that's worth, God, how much is college now? Hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to a 4-year university now. That's free, okay? And while Bernie Sanders keeps telling you for the last 8 years that you're going to get free college, it ain't showed up yet, is it? So just something to consider. And this one, as you're talking about, like a little bit, as you get a little bit further into your life, right? The VA home loan. This is probably the best benefit. For those of you who don't know, veterans have access to VA home loan. What is that? $0 down home loan. Okay, so when I bought my first house, I put $0 down, got the lowest rate available. And again, I was active duty. The military just paid my mortgage for me. I just got a free house, basically. No, not free, right? I had to pay the mortgage, but I had to put nothing down. And they just got a house. There's no one now, and you know how expensive houses are. I would never have been able to buy a house when I did. And that house that I bought in 2016, 2017, over doubled in value just because the housing market's crazy, okay? So VA home loan, massive. Nobody else has that, okay? And then let's move on from there, okay? And the next big one, this is more of enjoyment, like enjoying your job, okay? And that is the camaraderie, all right? So now maybe not everybody got this, but most people in the military, I mean, in special forces, it's called the brotherhood. We work on a team. It is amazing, okay? Working on a team, working with like-minded people, the camaraderie of that, one of the best parts about the job. It's honestly, I tell people I don't miss being in the military for a second, but I absolutely miss the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the team life, all those things. Okay, it is amazing if you take advantage of it. Okay, so that is a huge positive, right? Gives you a sense of purpose, gives you a sense of belonging. You're going to make tons of friendships along the way. I'll tell you, one of the biggest things I see as problems for young kids, even in college today, is they just lack purpose. They lack belonging. You see these protests, even in the Palestine protests, all these kids are just really desperate for a feeling of belonging so they can latch onto something that gives them a sense of community. Okay, the military is going to literally just hand you that on a silver platter, which is really nice. Okay, next is leadership development. Right, now I mentioned before, yes, you're going to have some bad leaders, but you're potentially going to have some amazing ones. Okay, and the experience in working in the military, especially if you do a career out of it, leadership experience is incredible. And in the realm of combat, right, the best leaders in the world are usually developed through hardened fire in combat, right? So you're going to gain so much experience that you just are not going to gain in a civilian career when it comes to leading and managing other human beings. Okay. Next is world experience. I traveled all over the world, right? From the Middle East to Europe, all over Asia. Okay. Lived in foreign countries. Had my family live with me in Japan for multiple years, right? So my kids got to see a bunch of different things. I got to see the entire world. And I can't tell you how much it changes and develops your worldview. Okay. There's just such a difference between having seen half the world and lived in different cultures and having lived in one spot in America your whole life, right? So it really opens up, again, you sort of become a worldly vision rather than a, sort of secular one spot type of view. So, and again, you get to travel the world and see awesome places, okay? So that you would have to spend money to do, the military just sends you there for your job, right? You also see a lot of shitty places, right? So there can be some negatives to that, but for the most part, that's typically a positive. Okay, now, for those of you adrenaline junkies, if you want to go combat arms, you want to go something like Special Forces, yes, it is the #1 adrenaline job on the planet. We do things that no one else in the world can or is allowed to do. Even if, let's say, you're a skydiver, right? It takes hundreds of jumps, maybe 500 jumps before they let you jump out with anything else attached to your body, okay? For us, military free fall, it's like your 4th jump, they strap a 45-pound rucksack between your legs and throw you out of a plane at night, okay? So, you're flying in on helicopters, combat, all these things are the ultimate adrenaline rush, okay? So, not saying that they're the healthiest thing on your brain necessarily, but if you're someone that loves that type of thing, you're not going to find that level of adrenaline anywhere else. I know, you get out, you retire, you try to chase it, you try to find it other places. It don't exist, okay? Next, and this is going to be the final one, and it is building your own character, right? Figuring out who you are as a man or a woman. The military is fantastic about teaching you who you are, okay? You're going to face adversity, challenges, hard times, good times. You're going to learn so much about yourself that by the time you're done, I think there's people that go their entire lives and never really know who they are, never know what they could have accomplished, all those different things. You are never going to have to wonder that, right? You're going to know your own views, your values. All of those things are going to be so set in stone and and part of your core character. You can't buy that anywhere else, okay? The military is going to develop that for you in a way that I don't think anything else can. So, that's a lot, right? A lot of positives, a lot of negatives. So, the question is, should you join the military in 2025, right? So this is what I tell mostly young men who reach out to me, right? But this goes for women too. If you're in the ages of 18 to 24, I just say yes. 100% across the board. If you can do it, right? It is the easy button to long-term success in this country, without a doubt, okay? Do not do what I did. 18, go to a Division I university, go drop out after a couple terms, stockpile $30,000 for me at the time in debt, and then join the military, right? Because, I realized college wasn't for me. Please, now it's even worse than that. That was 20 years ago, right? Now it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, so if you don't know what you want to do, and you're not like, I'm going to be a neurosurgeon doctor or I'm going to be an accountant. Okay, please, please, all you 18-year-olds, do not go just try to figure out what you want to do at a 4-year university. You are going to put yourself in massive debt that you will probably never climb out of for the rest of your life. You'll be a slave to your debt forever. Okay, now you can do what you want, but there are so many better options. Okay, even if it's not the military, go to a trade school, right? Become a welder, become a lineman, all these different things. There's so many better options. And you're coming from someone who's got a 4-year degree, okay? But I got it for free in the military. There is value to it, right? But not to figure out what you want to do with your life. The military will give you that time, okay? 18 to 24, to figure out what you want to do. You'll try different jobs, and you can get your degree for free in the military, and then use your GI Bill, like I'm doing, to pay for your advanced degrees, master's degree, PhD when you get out, okay? So, yes, 18 to 24, if you can qualify, just do it, okay? If you've balanced those positives and negatives and think you could enjoy it, yes, 100%. Don't worry about a lot like all these. And this is where I say, don't worry about like, oh, who's the president? Or is war about to start? Guys, that changes. Like, I served under 3 different presidents through, I don't know how many different wars and conflicts that were going on. Nobody in 1999 that joined the military had any idea 9/11 was going to happen and we'd kick off the global war on terror, okay? So you never know who's going to be the next president. You never know who's going to be in charge. You never know what conflict's going to pop up. You can't make your decision based off of who's currently in charge, okay? Military, that's not what it's about. Make the decision based off of all of those things. I weigh those positives and negatives and say, is this right for me, okay? Now, I get this question a lot too from older, and I mean older as in like 25 to 35. Should I join? Should I try to go special operations? I'm working a technical analyst job at whatever firm. Should I give that up, right? This one is like strictly depends on your personal situation, okay? If you already have a civilian career and you have a wife or husband and multiple kids, right? You have to be very smart about the decision you make here, okay? Is it right for your family? Is your family going to be able to handle that type of lifestyle? All right? Don't just be selfish and be like, I think I'm going to be a Green Beret, and my family's going to hate this, end up like me and get divorced your first year in the military. Okay? It happens. So be smart, okay? Make sure you talk to your family, your spouse, your parents, whoever, right? They're on board, they're supportive, okay? And then make your decision from there, okay? Because there are a lot of positives, but you can destroy your life along the way pretty fast, okay, if you don't do it correctly. Now, so I hope all of you watching this, if you're considering joining, that this either solidified your decision that you're going to join or made you maybe think, oh, I didn't know any of these negatives. Maybe this wouldn't be right for me, okay? Because the worst thing you could do is join the military and kind of realize, oh, I hate this, I wanted nothing to do with it. Or conversely, I get hundreds of comments of people in their 40s and 50s of like, man, I wish I would have taken the chance and served, and now I can't, okay? So hopefully these lists let you guys sort of weigh that, make a better decision for yourself, all right? Any other questions? Throw them in the comment section, all right? Don't forget to grab yourself some merch and like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, that helps the channel too. And we'll probably get back to some current events here pretty soon because the world is crazy. But that's going to do it for today. All right, everybody. Take care.